Global warming isn't just about melting ice caps or stranded polar bears. It's about your grocery bill skyrocketing, city flooding, and toxic air.
The Copernicus Climate Change
Act.
This isn't some distant future problem. This issue is unfolding and affecting you more closely than you may realize. From extreme weather events to food shortages and rising sea levels, the impact of global warming is no longer just a headline. It's your reality. In this video, we're diving deep into the harsh truths about how global warming will affect your everyday life in 2025. Let's start with the basics. What does global warming mean for the average person? It's simple to dismiss it as someone else's problem. After all, you're not living on a glacier. But here's the catch. Global warming doesn't discriminate. Global warming is affecting everyone and is already transforming our way of life. First, let's talk about food. Did you know that 2025 will dramatically drop global crop yields? Droughts, floods, and extreme heat waves make it harder for farmers to grow food. That means higher prices for you at the store. Imagine paying double for the same bag of rice or loaf of bread. And it's not just about cost, it's about availability. Some foods might disappear altogether. For example, in California, often called the nation's breadbasket, droughts have slashed agricultural production, impacting crops like almonds, strawberries, and tomatoes. In the Midwest, states like Iowa and Nebraska grapple with unpredictable flooding, making it nearly impossible to plant and harvest on time. Every dinner table will feel the ripple effects of these changes by 2025, straining the entire food supply chain. Now, let's move to cities. Urban areas, where most of us live, are becoming hotspots. Literally, heat waves are lasting longer and hitting harder, turning towns into ovens. In places like Phoenix, Arizona, and Dallas, Texas, summer temperatures are becoming unbearable, pushing well past 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Even if you can afford the electricity bill, air conditioning won't save you when the power grid fails, a situation that's becoming increasingly frequent due to extreme weather events. Beyond the heat, cities are also dealing with flooding. Coastal states like Florida, Louisiana, and New York are seeing neighborhoods disappear as sea levels rise and storm surges become more destructive. Inland cities aren't immune either. In states like Tennessee and Kentucky, flash floods are becoming alarmingly common, devastating communities and leaving many without homes. And let's not forget about infrastructure. We didn't build roads, bridges, and public transit systems to withstand the extreme weather we're currently experiencing. In Michigan, for instance, intense rainfall is causing roads to collapse, while in Texas, hurricanes are tearing apart communities faster than they can rebuild. The cost of repairing and reinforcing this infrastructure will eventually fall on taxpayers, adding another financial burden to already stretched thin households. The impact doesn't stop there. Water is becoming a scarce resource in many parts of the country. States like Nevada, Arizona, and California are battling over dwindling water supplies from the Colorado River. Crops are at risk without sufficient water, as are industries and daily life for millions of Americans. Imagine turning on your faucet and nothing coming out, a reality already facing some communities. This is just the beginning. Global warming is affecting every aspect of life, and by 2025, these challenges will only grow more severe. The question isn't whether it will impact you, it's how much. The number of extreme weather events is expected to reach record highs in 2025. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, projects a significant increase in billion-dollar weather disasters in the United States by 2025, with over 20 such events occurring in 2023 alone. Hurricanes are growing stronger, wildfires are burning longer, and floods are swallowing entire neighborhoods. Imagine waking up one morning to find your street underwater, your car ruined, and your home uninhabitable. If you're lucky, insurance might cover some of it, but rebuilding takes time, money, and resources many people don't have. In Florida, Hurricane Ian caused over $113 billion in damages, leaving thousands homeless. Coastal cities like Miami have invested millions in building seawalls and drainage systems, but experts believe these efforts are futile. Meanwhile, wildfires in California are becoming an annual catastrophe. The 2018 Camp Fire was one of the worst in U.S. history, but by 2025, such events will be common. Over 2.5 million acres burnt in 2023 alone, and experts predict that number will double within the next few years. This isn't just an environmental disaster, it's a human one. The disaster is wiping out entire communities, leaving families with nothing but ashes. Health crises. Let's talk about health. Rising temperatures aren't just uncomfortable, they're deadly. According to the CDC, heat waves are already the leading cause of weather-related deaths in the United States, surpassing hurricanes, floods, and tornadoes combined. Extreme heat directly caused over 700 deaths in 2023. By 2025, that number could climb to over 1,000 annually. In cities like Phoenix, Arizona, where summer temperatures regularly exceed 115 degrees Fahrenheit, heat stroke is becoming a typical emergency room diagnosis. Vulnerable populations like the elderly and low-income families without access to air conditioning are at the most significant risk. Air quality is another growing concern. Higher temperatures mean more smog and pollutants in the air, leading to respiratory problems like asthma and even heart disease. According to the American Lung Association, over 40% of Americans live in areas with unhealthy air quality. Cities like Los Angeles, known for their smog, are seeing these problems intensify as global warming accelerates. Then there's the spread of diseases. Warmer climates are a breeding ground for mosquitoes and ticks, which carry illnesses like West Nile virus, malaria, and Lyme disease. In states like Florida and Texas, cases of mosquito-borne diseases are on the rise. Flooding adds another layer of risk, contaminating drinking water and leading to outbreaks of waterborne illnesses like cholera. Economic impact. If you think global warming won't affect your wallet, think again. Every year, we spend billions of dollars on disaster recovery. But guess who's bearing the cost? You bear the financial burden through higher taxes and increased insurance premiums. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, estimates that the cost of disaster recovery in the United States has quadrupled over the last 2 decades, from $6 billion in the early 2000s to over $24 billion annually. But it doesn't stop there. Job markets are shifting as industries like agriculture and tourism struggle to adapt to changing climates. For instance, rising sea levels and extreme weather events threaten Florida's tourism industry, worth over $90 billion annually, by making some areas less appealing to visitors. Similarly, California's wine industry, a $40 billion economic driver, is struggling as changing temperatures and water shortages affect grape production. The housing market is also taking a hit. Coastal properties are losing value as sea levels rise and insurance companies pull out of high-risk areas. If you live near the coast, selling your home is nearly impossible. Declining property values have trapped homeowners in states like South Carolina and Massachusetts, preventing them from selling or moving. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Global warming isn't just something we can stop overnight. The damage has already been done, accelerating faster than most people realize. Scientists predict a rise in global temperatures of nearly 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2025, compared to pre-industrial. That number might not seem much on paper, but its consequences are earth-shattering. It's the difference between manageable chaos and irreversible catastrophe. Let's put this into perspective. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, warns that crossing the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold could trigger tipping points in the climate system. These are irreversible changes that could set off a domino effect. For example, the melting of Arctic ice won't just raise sea levels, it will also reduce the planet's ability to reflect sunlight, causing temperatures to rise even faster. The permafrost thawing in Siberia could release massive amounts of methane, a greenhouse gas 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide. These changes are not just theoretical. They're already beginning to happen. Rising sea levels and extreme weather events will displace millions by 2025. Coastal cities like Miami, New Orleans, and Jakarta are on the front lines. Experts predict that over 300,000 homes in the United States will face chronic flooding by then. Imagine entire neighborhoods turning into ghost towns. Their residents are forced to flee with whatever they can carry. The emotional toll of losing your home, community, and sense of security is unimaginable, but for many, it's becoming a reality. Then, there's the impact on global food systems. A United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization report estimates that the yields of staple crops like wheat, rice, and maize could decline by up to 10% by 2025. That might not sound like a lot, but even a slight decrease can lead to widespread hunger in a world where millions are already food insecure. Combine that with the skyrocketing food prices caused by transportation disruptions and supply chain issues, and you have a recipe for global instability. And let's not forget water scarcity. We expect half of the world's population to live in water-stressed areas by 2025. States like California and Arizona are already rationing water in the United States, and resource conflicts are becoming more common. Globally, regions like the Middle East and North Africa are on the brink of water wars. These aren't just challenges for governments to solve, they're crises that will shape the daily lives of millions. What's truly alarming is how little time we have to change course. Our decisions today will determine whether we can stabilize the climate or if future generations inherit a fundamentally broken world. Yet, despite the overwhelming evidence, meaningful action remains elusive. Governments continue to subsidize fossil fuels, industries prioritize profits over sustainability, and many individuals feel powerless to make a difference. The key moment is now. This is the critical juncture, the pivotal moment where humanity must determine its destiny. Will we rise to the challenge and take bold, collective action? Will we persist in our complacent approach, leaving the next generation to shoulder the burden of rebuilding a shattered world? There is no longer any room for excuses. It's no longer about preventing climate change, but adapting to a new reality while we still have the chance. Don't stop here. Subscribe now to stay tuned for more exciting videos coming soon, and be part of the journey from the very beginning.